Today's guest is Samantha-Jane Littlejohns, who is sharing her courageous story about how she became the world's first Habits of Happiness coach. She is a huge advocate of self-care being the foundation to any business. Listen today to hear more. Hello, you're listening to the Courageous Goals podcast. This podcast is for high achieving, courageous women who want growth and the know-how to scale their business online. Running a business is a journey and a process. The more we learn and action, the more we succeed. If you're a woman in business, this is the podcast for you. Be in the 5% of businesses that make it. Let's get bold and create the life we desire. I'm bringing my passion to you through advice, coaching, inspiration and support to help you create and design the life and business you want to live. I am a Dubsado expert, CPD certified in social media platforms and a lover of admin systems and processes. I am an accredited ICF coach specialising in trauma and narcissism. My own coaching journey has supported my growth immensely and I want to share those highlights with you to inspire and give you courage. Let's get intentional with our goals and make them happen. Let's get started. Okay, hello and welcome to the Courageous Goals podcast. Today we've got another courageous story, Samantha-Jane Littlejohns, who is the world's first Habits of Happiness coaches in the world, in the UK. Sam, do you know?
Yes, in the UK, in the world. Yes, it is. It's the very first one. So, yes.
Right. I will let Sam introduce herself. I'm sure she can do it much better than me. And then we can kind of take it from there and find out about Sam's journey. So, Sam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'd love to, Leanne. Thanks. So, as Leanne said, I am a Habits of Happiness coach, and it isn't just part of what I do. I actually live and breathe it all day, every day, and I am passionate about it. And the Habits of Happiness is a coaching company that supports adults and young people's mental health and well-being through our educational programs. And the programs are their foundations are rooted in the science of happiness, heart maths, mindfulness, and also a big, huge part is the mind-body connection. And our aims are to create positive emotional habits, promote mental and physical health, also about self-awareness and increase their self-esteem, compassion and kindness, and also resilience within themselves. I know that's a bit of a mouthful, but yeah.
It's fine. And it's all important points, like hugely. Yeah. And I think with coaching, what I've really learned is being self-aware and open to, all different thoughts and feelings and aspects of, all the different parts of coaching. So it's all really relevant.
Yeah, it is. And I think so this is the first part of my business, which I started around 4 or 5 years ago, just through my own journey of getting back to health and well-being. And over the last probably year or so, I've kind of pivoted my business a bit, going back to my roots of supporting female entrepreneurs, actually, helping them master their habits for success and happiness, and allowing them to really create a business that puts them at the forefront. Because I've been in business for, it sounds so long, about 25 years when I had my first business. And my first business, I didn't really prioritize myself and I ended up on burnout. So in the last couple of months, along with being the CEO and the company owner of the Habits of Happiness, which is the educational program, I am really passionate about supporting female entrepreneurs, really mastering their mindset around self-care and putting them at the forefront of their business rather than really, I suppose what I used to do was put everyone else, including my business, including my clients, ahead of myself, my well-being, and in that really hamster wheel of chasing. So that's kind of where I am at this particular moment in time in my business as well.
Yeah, it's really I can relate to that so much. It's so important to put yourself first. And I also reached burnout a couple of times actually, because when you're running a business, you just think of everybody else, don't you? And what you've got to do, and you've got to do this and do that and be here, and all the different thoughts that go with being a business owner and all the different hats that you wear. And you tend to put yourself to the side and you think, oh, I'll do that later. And then later just doesn't happen. So it is really easy to put yourself to the back of the list, the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
But yes, I have also really started to change the way I do things, and day to day I'm looking after me more. So yes, self-care is so important. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
So have you always been a coach? So 25 years you've been in business. Have you?
No, no. So I originally trained in my 20s as a holistic therapist, had my own business and salon, and then retrained as a makeup artist. And I had a bespoke wedding company um, and a training school. So I used to teach beauty therapy and makeup, and I also used to run weddings packages throughout Scotland. So I had a team of hairdressers and makeup artists, and used to do weddings all over. I mean, some of them were going down to England, but most of them were in Scotland, and most of them were American brides, which were lovely. But yeah, so that's how I started my career quite a few years ago.
Wow, so
But
a
yeah.
true entrepreneur, like many businesses. Love that.
Yeah, yeah. So I started it there, and I loved it, and I had two young kids, and um, it, what happened was I didn't even see the signs of burnout. I didn't even realize that I was heading for burnout. I just thought that I was busy. I ignored the fact that I was having headaches. I couldn't sleep. I was like worrying about my business. I mean, I know that actually it'd probably be normal because you're in charge of someone wearing makeup, but I didn't really notice myself, and I didn't until it was too late, and I woke up 2010 completely paralyzed down one side of my body. And
Oh,
so yeah, so it kind of was the burnout of all burnouts. It wasn't like, oh, well, I don't think I can cope. It was like my body just gave up. So yeah, it was kind of like a wake up call for me. But being an entrepreneur, it took me quite a few years to kind of listen to that. Yeah, and what happened was I continued to work for about 3 or 4 years, and um, the this, the diagnosis that I got was it's called psychosomatic, and now I totally understand it. And this is why the Habits of Happiness was really born through me educating myself around the mind-body connection and how stress and anxiety and overwhelm can actually affect you physiologically. But at the time, I heard psychosomatic, and I thought, oh, I'm a hypochondriac. And that spiraled me out of control completely because I'm a control freak. And I was like, oh my God, it's all in my head. Oh, there must be something even wrong with me. Oh, come on, pull it together, Samantha. Pull it. And that's not what you can do when you're in adrenal burnout and your body's overwhelmed, but we have all these limiting beliefs and we have all these systems. And um, now over 7 years of actually learning what happens to the body and the connection between stress, as I said, and not listening to it and not having the strategies or tools to do anything about it because nothing's really changed in this business apart from I now have tools and strategies in place so that I can recognize and I can prevent myself from my body going into fight or flight constantly. I can pull myself back. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of my journey to why I ended up becoming a coach. I didn't really think, well, coaching is going to be a wonderful thing. So, I'll just decide to do it. It was more essential of understanding, and my journey has been through the connection between how your subconscious mind can affect not only what you think, your mindset, your limiting beliefs, but also how it can affect your emotions, your chemistry within your body and your physiology, to really put me at a halt, completely put my body into this physical where I couldn't walk, and it was all like I actually thought that I'd had a stroke, and yeah. And now I realise that there's lots of different, it can then go on to become autoimmune diseases and IBS. And, I've kind of dived in, and over the last 7 years, I've kind of absorbed myself into the science and into the understanding, so that I suppose that I could heal myself, but now I'm passionate about, so that it can never happen to really anybody else, or they at least have the tools and strategies that I didn't even know were there. So yeah.
Yeah. I that's why I've dived into becoming trauma informed now, which I've actually just been accredited. So I'm very excited.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
what I'm learning about, how your body really holds all of these things that you've been through and the stress. And have you read that book, The Body Keeps the Score?
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't it insightful?
It,
It's amazing.
it, it was like reading my own. It is just, actually, I don't know if there's very many books I haven't read. Actually, at the time, it was like it sounds really strange, but I was like a kid in a candy store when it was like, oh my word, there's something I can do about that, because I don't know about you when you were heading for burnout, or anybody that's listening, you feel so helpless, you feel so disempowered. And then
Yeah.
suddenly when you get this knowledge, I mean, sometimes it's just the awareness and you can't do anything about it. And then it's acceptance, okay, this is where I am. But then you have the opportunity to take action, to have these tools, and like yourself, have therapists and coaches, and all these array of people that I didn't even know were out there that can help, So you
Yeah.
now feel that, well, I did, and I don't know if you did as well. I felt so much more empowered. And I think that's probably why I feel like I need to share it, and probably similar to yourself.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I have been sharing more and more about my story this year. But yeah, it does give you that kind of like sense of empowerment, where you're like, oh, I can really help you. I've got this really amazing tool that
Yeah,
will help with that. And I just get so
yeah,
excited by it and
yeah,
passionate.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it took me, I only started sharing my story about 2 years ago, because I felt shame and I felt guilt, and yeah, there was a whole load of this twistedness around beliefs and identity, and it was very interesting, actually, how it took me so long to come to terms with being okay with me not being okay, if that makes sense,
Yeah,
on how things go. Um, and I think the more that I speak to people, and especially probably in the world that we're in, which is entrepreneurs and business owners, and especially small business owners, because we have got to do everything. We are our accountants, we are our IT, we are our marketing, we are social media, and they might not be our strengths, but we've now got to take these on. And we don't have an HR department to say, do you know what? Like, I think you need to like take some time out. You'll have that little voice in your head that says, you need to go on, come on, such and such is here and they're doing that, and you need to be doing this. So
yeah, it would be handy to have someone else
really would.
do that. Although I must admit, my daughter does tend to take on the role of, Mum, did you take a break today? Did you have lunch? And I'm just like, yes, Mum, like to the
Yes.
8-year-old.
Well, I'm glad someone is, because
Yeah,
it's challenging. It's so challenging to,
of
yeah,
course.
take that time out for ourselves, when we have that little voice within our head, that, because we love what we do normally as well, it
Yeah,
doesn't tend to feel like work, but we can sometimes bypass that warning signs that's
yeah.
there. So yeah.
So, Sam, let's find out what motivates you in your business the most.
Well, I think it is helping others, and really, I suppose I am an educator, even though I'm a coach. I taught makeup. I think I'm a natural teacher, put it that way. So I love to learn and then teach. And I think giving people the tools and strategies so that they can feel empowered, so that they never have to feel the way that I did. And that's from the early ages that I work in Habits of Happiness to now revisiting. And I think that's why it's taken me so long, because I was like, what if I go backwards with my business? So I thought I set up my business, and now I feel really strong in foundations and what I do to help other entrepreneurs, because I really feel that women in business really are the new kind of statement. They need to be there to show the next generation that we can have it all without having this feeling of guilt and shame and feeling like as if you're juggling 1,000 things at once. I don't know if that'll ever go, but yeah, so that's what motivates me to get up, is to make sure that people, and especially women, have the tools and strategies for them to be able to live their best life.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And I think that's partly why I like sharing other people's stories, because it's encouraging others
Yeah.
to, talk about their stories and support each other and, lift each other up, so that we can all do what we really want to do, rather than thinking, oh, I'm not good enough to do that, I'll just sit back and watch everybody else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I do admit I did feel very stuck at that point, right at the beginning, where I was like, oh, am I good enough? Can I do this?
Yeah.
But I knew I just didn't want to go back to employment, so I just dived in.
Yeah, you definitely. And I think it is we're different. I think I was going to say we're a different breed, but we have already stepped out of that box. Now, there's an analogy, like lots of people say, is like when you feel like you just can't fit in your square hole, your square peg going into a round hole, or the opposite way around. And I definitely think that if you've already decided to take that jump, you're already one step ahead, because you've already decided that you're going to take that risk on not conforming and not actually doing that 9 to 5, because it is challenging. As much as some of your family might say, phoning you during the day and saying, okay, you want to meet for a coffee? And it's like, no, I work.
Yeah.
It's like, hello. I'm like, do you really? Like, yes. Must be really good for you. Like, yes, very good for me. I've got to do this. But yeah, it's very challenging. But I think we've
Yeah.
already decided to go out of the norm. So I think just having that in the forefront of our mind is the most challenging. Like you said, Leanne, like think I don't want to go back to that 9 to 5, and keeping that in the forefront is the biggest thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happily working away, 9 till 5, or even, I don't know, 8 till 8. I love working for myself, in doing what I love in my little office, but
Yeah.
yeah, not for someone else again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So who or what has supported you the most?
My family are really supportive in their own way, as much as they can be, because no one else in my family are business owners. When it's struggling, and when it was, especially when I ended up with burnout, they couldn't understand why I would want to go back into it again this time. But they are very supportive, because they can see the change in myself, and they can see the change that I'm making in other people. And I have an amazing set of mentors that I've worked with as well. So my original hypnotherapist teacher, Hazel, she was amazing, and she really took me under her wing on understanding um, not only the business side of coaching and hypnotherapy, but also making sure that I was ready to step back into it. And I've been lucky enough to do coaching programs with Dr. David Hamilton as well. So I've been a bit unconventional in the coaching sense. I mean, now in the business world, I've worked and done courses with Tony Robbins and Lisa. My brain is gone.
Is it Lisa Johnson?
Lisa Johnson,
Yeah.
which I loved because this is what's inspired me to actually pivot my business round into support, and it gave me that real focus when I did her course around actually this is one of my big passions that I've had, and I think I was a little bit frightened to step into supporting business owners because I'd had that burnout. But now um, she made me realise actually it is what I want and that I can,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did you do the one-to-many course, or was it a different?
I did the one-to-many course
Yeah,
with
I
her.
did that
So
this year.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think I've met so many amazing people through it as well. I think um in the way that she designs her courses, it was really good because I think we had little pods and um, where I really managed to connect, and a lot of actually the people who are doing the one-to-many have came over to do guest spots in my membership, which is amazing because we
Yeah.
were able to connect and also doing a few summits with them, and so yeah, it's really in alignment with the kind of business that I want to do and create online as well. So yeah, so definitely inspired by Lisa.
Yes, yeah, I was. I found that she's very to the point and factual, and she doesn't like waffle or anything like that. And I really needed that at the time. I was just like, this has really got me focused. So it was a really good course for me too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was me as well because it's very strategy based. So it isn't. It's not a lot of coaching or anything. It's basically you do this, and it's a very good framework, which I
Yeah.
loved, and it's really where I was as well in my business. So yeah.
Okay, so what's unique about you and what you offer?
I think the biggest unique thing is I live and breathe it. Absolutely every single morning, what I teach, I I breathe. I don't. It's not something that I've just learned to do as a career. It's something that I've created from my own experiences. So the habits of happiness is actually from my own program that I did first to help me to manage and my own emotions and regulate my own um, nervous system and kind of heal myself along the way. So yeah, I think the uniqueness is that you could ask me anything and I'll know absolutely everything inside and out of it because I live and breathe it. I do it every single day. It's not like it's a program that uh, yeah, that, that I completely believe that it changes your life around. So, and that it's authentically me. It has aspects of everybody that's influenced my life and all my teaching, but the actual um, core of the foundations of starting your day in a positive way and doing these habitual tiny little things around creating your life and putting yourself at the forefront is really, I think, the difference between perhaps doing a course or mimicking some of the learnings from um, the courses that I've been on before. A lot of them are quite similar,
Yeah.
um, um, especially in business, because they can only teach so much, and the rest of it's down to you because it's mindset and most of it. So they can only give you so much strategies around that. Um, and I do definitely think that, mm, yeah, I live and breathe it. Like, I
Yeah.
believe in it in 100% that it works. So
Yeah, and I think it's important, when you live and breathe it, you're
yeah,
showing people that you do what you do because it works for you
yeah,
and that they can actually see it. So it makes, yeah, a huge difference.
yeah,
And I have really recognized that myself this year with the way that the people that I follow and the way I take in what they are actually doing. And you can see that what they're offering is what they do. And it's so inspiring, and it's made me really change like what I've been doing like day to day, because I was one of those where I would literally work all the hours for other people. And then when I'd find a spare hour or whatever, I would then work on my business. And I was like, right, this is really working for me. So
Yeah.
I had to change it up completely. And now I have every single Monday where I work on my business, whatever it is that I need to do each week, but
Yeah.
Monday is there. And I take regular breaks now. And, you know, I'm really practicing what I preach. And it's making a huge difference. And I've had so many people compliment and say, Leanne, I'm loving your journey. I can see all of the different bits that are changing. And I'm just like, yay, it's working.
I love that. I love that because I think what I teach is self-awareness. So it's not like you do this and this is what it is. It's all about actually what works for you. And I think that's probably the uniqueness about it, is that there is a set of things that you can do, but actually the core aspect is finding out what works for you, and giving that space, because it's often time we say we don't have. So it's actually holding space for people to be able to figure out themselves, because often in business, in life, as a mum, as a wife, a partner, a friend, we lose ourselves. And so I think the big thing, and that I often get from my clients, is that time for them to really know who they are again. And then when you can come from you, then that echoes out into your business and it echoes out into your family, because you can't fill from an empty cup. So I'm always on the view of, if you fill yourself up and know who you are and the inside rather than the outside, the building the resilience from the inner resilience, the things that you love to do, the things that fill you up, the things that drain you, and having this awareness, it really, well, I know it from myself, but even through feedback from my clients and the courses, that it really gives them this sense of empowerment, that they have a voice again, and also that they have a choice, because sometimes we live in this busy life and we built up these habitual habits of just doing, and we're like automatic pilot, which is amazing, but actually we lose ourselves in there. And so that can sometimes contribute to our body going into stress and overwhelm as well. So so I think giving people back that power of who they are and actually being seen and being heard is probably one of the big things as well, without it being as well that I live and breathe it. So.
Yeah. Okay, so success is different for us all. It's all, you know, our own version of success. So what would you say the secrets to your success are?
I think it's balance. I think it's definitely bringing balance into my life. And I think it's living more presently, and really appreciating the small things in life. And also, it's the balance of having that vision for, I mean, because I have a massive vision. I've just created like these courses, and I have that, but it's also knowing where you are now and really appreciating where you are now, and really knowing and rewarding yourself, because before I didn't do that. I didn't reward the small things. I was always looking, once I achieved that, once I achieved that, then I would, then I would have this tick on my list, and I would be called successful. Whereas now, to me, it is the smallest of things that actually contribute to success. And the main thing is having this balance within myself, within my business, and within my life.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you want to achieve next, and share with people that you might want them to hear today?
So the next level that I want to do is really create this community, which I've just started in the last 6 months to a year. Around, I suppose, the majority of the people that are in there are female female entrepreneurs. That was easy for me to say, no. And it not it being a community where they can really prioritize themselves, and for them to really allow them to take time out without the pressures of having to do more business things. Because I
Yeah.
love business, I love groups, I love business, I love learning, but I also realize that that space can put us into procrastination, it can put us into imposter syndrome, it can put us into retracting, or it can put us into completely pushing ourselves because we're comparing ourselves. And I love that. There is a space for that. But
Mm.
I didn't feel there was a space just to be able to hold, to take time out to work on yourself, to work on being supported by like-minded humans and entrepreneurs, and especially females who are juggling everything, and not feeling, if you say, I'm really struggling today, that if I say that, they'll be thinking I'm not very good at what I'm doing or anything like that. So, and not wanting to put out. So, mine is about giving tools and strategies, and but collaborating with other experts, because I really do, as I said at the beginning, I really do feel that women are the new future of showing how we can have it all. And there's so many of us who feel this way as well, but there's also so many that don't have the tools and strategies. So mine is to kind of bring this culture of taking time out and really prioritizing yourself, so that actually your business and yourself and your family can thrive through you being the center of it.
Mm.
So yeah, so I created a group called Happy You Happy Life, and I also have a membership which is just actually opening again. It's doors, and well, actually, I'm opening it up on. Well, this will not probably go out, but I'm opening it out up for Friday for a special deal. But it opens up 3 times a year,
Wow.
and yeah, it's, as I said, it's all about supporting and this journey of actually developing habits of self-care and putting yourself and really focusing on your business. So taking the time to say, are you with clients? Are you in that need? Are you having draining clients? Do you know, it's not just around the strategies of business. It's about you and how you can kind of fill yourself up first without the guilt and the shame that sometimes comes with that.
Yeah,
Oh
definitely. And
yeah,
I've always been one of those where trying to break a habit is quite difficult for me.
yeah.
And they say, is it about 3 months it takes to actually break and start a new habit?
Do you know what? That there's a lot of myths around it. It's a lot more complicated than that.
Oh,
I could have a host podcast just on habits and tell
another
you
one.
what happens within that. But in general, it's all about your motivation behind it, and it's all about like why you want to do it. And actually, you can break habits within, because I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, so you can break habits like that. Or if it's around looking to change a way of life, it can be anywhere from up to 21 days to a year, depending on how long you've done it and how long the neuron networks and pathways have been there. But
Yeah.
it's a lot more complicated than kind of, yep, 30 days and then that'll be you. It's all to do with yourself. And the more self-awareness you have, and the more you could probably, it's your motivations. We all know that. It's your mindset. It's how you think about something, because we've all done it where we've changed something for someone else like that. Changed the system, got up, suddenly we have to go to work. So we do it. And
Yeah.
that habit is completely changed. It's all about why is something not prioritizing over it, and what is it becoming? So, and what is it getting out of it? Anyway, I could talk about that forever. So I won't. You've got me on a tangent now. Yes,
We can do
it's
another
one of my
episode.
obsessions on understanding, and I mean that's kind of what I specialize in, is helping people to break habits and create
Yeah.
new ones. So, but
I'll
yeah.
ask you that another time then, Sam.
Yes, you will, definitely. And love to have a chat. But yeah, So yeah, and I think our mindset and the way that we think around self-care is the basis of really take time out, is
Yeah.
just to allow you to be able to take that space, because I could almost guarantee that everybody I speak to, I'll say I just don't have enough time, to change the habits, to put the time in. But as you know, anybody who's started a business, you had to take the time out to best in this business. And we need that space and that time to be able to do it again, to unpick all those habits and behaviours and beliefs so that we can lay the new foundation and put in ourselves first.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So, final question. What would be your top tips for women in business, knowing that you're all about mindset and happiness and habits and
Yeah. It probably won't be a shock, but my top tip for in business is really to really think about what you want from your business, because often we start in business, especially if you've came from corporate, but even from myself as well, where we trade a 9 to 5 to actually then our clients becoming our beholder and our ball and chain. And my advice is to not fear that, because sometimes we then end up taking on clients and we end up being beholden to them. So my advice is really think about what business you want. Like, why did you start in the first place? So as much scary as it might be that actually you only want to work 2 days a week, but you're actually working 20 hours. But think about what is it you want and get it down, because it might mean that you need to put your prices up. It might mean that you have to change. But if you don't have like the clarity of what does your business look like for you and not what it should look like, and we go into that outside where we're just going for clients and we're just doing all the hours and we have to hustle until, because that never happens, I can tell you that for a fact, until never happens. It just changes and it just shifts. So putting that foundation of actually what is your business and how do you want to work, what's the hours, what do you need to earn to start off with, what is it that your business model is. I would definitely say that and put you at the forefront of it, because trying to add in self-care later on, it doesn't happen, because your mindset is still already programmed to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And it's not enough. So if you have the foundations of how you want your business to run first and putting you at it, it makes a massive difference. And that's through experience, through doing one way and doing one another way. And you can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it, because I'm nothing extraordinary.
Oh, yes, you are. Don't say that.
We are all we're all extra, yes. Not any more extraordinary than your listeners are.
Yeah. Oh, Sam, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm sure you will have inspired so many people, truly. Are you happy for me to share your links and everything in the show notes? And people can connect with you, follow you, even look at what you do. They might even join your membership. Is that okay with you?
Yes, please do. And just reach out if anybody wants to have a chat. I'm here.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Courageous Goals podcast. I really hope you've enjoyed today's episode and taken something of value for you. If you'd love more advice, coaching, inspiration and support, head on over to join many other courageous women in business in our free community group over on Facebook. We'd love to welcome you. You can also find free useful resources over on the website at leannebrown.com/resources. Right, that's all for this week. I look forward to sharing another episode with you next week.